120, 130.
This thing jerked third. Hey guys, welcome to Hot Lap. Now this time around we got a pretty awesome episode for you. And in a little bit, I'm gonna go over some details on my brand new 2017 GT that I just got literally a few days ago.
But first, I was lucky enough to recently get my hands on a very rare GT350R for a few days with the strict instructions to drive it like I stole it. And needless to say, I didn't disappoint. Check it out. By now, most of you have probably heard about the GT350 and all of the fanfare, the flat plane crank, the ludicrous handling, and the beautifully aggressive styling. But unless you have one of these very rare, very dealer-inflated cars in your own garage, you probably haven't seen the R model up close and personal like we're about to show you. So hang out with me and let's discover this car and its 8,250 RPM redline together. Now, the original car actually debuted in a time that is known as the total performance era for Ford back in the 60s. Arguably probably one of the greatest eras for the Blue Oval in regards to just basic automotive history and competitive history. GT40 was absolutely dominating the likes of Le Mans, Daytona, Sebring. Ford engines were powering their way to hundreds of victories with both NASCAR and Formula One. The 427 engine was born, obviously a legendary motor, and Ford as a whole was just pushing performance to a whole nother level with their production race cars, the GT350 being one of them. But let's jump ahead to today. Ford is making performance a top priority once again, combining Ford Racing, SVT, and Team RS under one flag, the Ford Performance flag, with a huge emphasis on performance and competition once again. Starting with the Ford GT, of course, the return of the Raptor here in 2017, the Focus RS, and you guessed it, the GT350 and 350R. Seems like history is repeating itself once again, and honestly, I don't mind one bit. Now on the surface, the standard GT350 is the more road-going of the two, just like the original back in the 60s. More creature comforts, more technology, more availability. The R here, on the other hand, all business and far more elusive. So let's take a closer look and see what separates the Shelbys from some of the standard Mustangs on the road today, and we'll take that a step further and see what's unique with the R. There are some subtle and not so subtle differences found throughout the entire car. Up front here, the GT350's front track has been widened by 1.5 inches, so as you might imagine, the entire front end of the car had to be changed to fit that wider stance. In fact, the only thing carried over from the standard Mustang up front from the doors forward are the headlights here, and they actually sit an inch lower. And compared to the standard S550 Mustang, the front end on the Shelby here is arguably way more sinister in appearance thanks to the different hood, the different grills, the lower and wider front bumper, and the different splitters here. The R actually gets a unique splitter compared to the standard GT350. And of course, we can't forget about the bulging front fenders here to make way for those wider stance tires, equipped with functional vents allowing hot engine bay air to escape. And it's not just a pretty face either, guys. This is entirely functional thanks to the injection molded carbon fiber composite material, keeping weight down while strengthening and stiffening the car at the same time. On the side of the car here, you'll see more differences between the standard Mustang and the Shelby cars, the biggest of which is actually unique to the R here, and that is the very exotic, very expensive carbon fiber wheels. 19 by 11 up front, 19 by 11.5 in the rear, make way for some seriously wide rubber. 305s up front, 315s in the back. Now, Ford actually worked with Michelin closely when developing a tire that is unique to the R here, the Sport Cup 2 unique tread pattern, unique tread compound. Just be careful not to curb these wheels because a new set will set you back roughly 15 grand. Underneath the carbon fiber wheels and the Sport Cup 2 tires, you'll find a massive and very potent brake setup thanks to Brembo. 15.5-inch two-piece rotors in the front, 14.9-inch two-piece rotors in the rear. Grabbing these rotors, you have 6 piston calipers up front, 4 piston calipers in the rear. Ford engineers recorded front brake temperatures of around 1600 degrees Fahrenheit, which did raise a concern of a few when it came to protecting these fancy carbon fiber wheels. That's why if you look closely at these wheels, you notice the front is painted gloss black, the rear is actually white. This is a ceramic plasma arc spray, the same tech used on the space shuttle, and helps protect these wheels from all of that heat. Out back, things are different here as well. Now, both the GT350 and 350R get the very drool-worthy quad-tip exhaust system and corresponding rear valance, and both actually get the active exhaust system as well, giving the driver the ability to keep things quiet or unleash hell depending on his or her mood. But this is where the similarities end. The R model here lacks the intermediate resonator found on the standard GT350, and that totally changes the tone that the Voodoo engine is singing. Now, in my opinion, the lack of that resonator produces a slightly more enjoyable tone overall, and one that is a little bit louder, but no complaints there. Also unique with the R, the rather large wing here that is functional. Dave Parasak, the chief engineer of the Mustang, says this thing was designed on the racetrack, not just because it happened to look cool. According to him, this rear wing here, along with the front splitter and some other enhanced aero here with the R model, is enough to produce some crazy amount of downforce on the racetrack when this thing is at speed. However, if you're looking to add one to your EcoBoost or your GT, you better be ready to dig deep, because the retail of this puppy is in the 5-digit territory. Opening the door for the first time, you're immediately greeted by the Ford Performance door sill plates, reminding you once again of the awesomeness that lies under the hood. Once seated, you're immediately given a big hug by the R-specific Recaros here, with enough bolstering in place to keep you locked in no matter how crazy you get behind the wheel. And while on the topic of seats, you'll notice the GT350R is lacking rear seats, a small nod to the original GT350R and a small indication of what this car was truly built for. Another indication this car was bred for the racetrack, a very cool heads-up display with an adjustable shift light, and very necessary when you're revving this thing to the moon. That red stitching found in the Recaros makes its way over to the door panels as well, in addition to the steering wheel here, which is a huge upgrade over the standard S550 Mustangs. Around the interior, you are going to find a couple of switches here. First and foremost, you have the exhaust switch on the far right, which does control the baffling between normal, the more quiet mode, and the louder sport mode. Now, in my opinion, guys, the car should just default to the louder sport mode at startup because the sound is so addicting, so intoxicating. In fact, the normal mode is the automotive equivalent of unplugging Hendrix's amplifier. One switch over from that exhaust mode, you'll find the adjustable launch control switch, very cool, helping you get the car off the line, along with 5 different interchangeable driving modes controlled by a button on the steering wheel. Now, these feature normal, sport, track, drag, and weather modes, which does make different changes to the throttle input, the steering and stability control, the exhaust mode, and the MagneRide dampers, a first for Ford and one of the true stars of the Shelby. After all, guys, the whole heart and soul, the whole purpose of this car was born and bred on the track. This is not a straight line only car, guys. Ford has other weapons in their arsenal for that. Instead, this thing is a precision guided missile, and that's exactly what the R is. Now, a big part of that can be attributed to the MagneRide suspension, again, a first for Ford. Now, this system consists of 4 monotube dampeners filled with what is called a magnetoriological fluid. Yes, that's a mouthful. Otherwise known as an MR fluid, and all of this is controlled by a separate ECU, and basically what that means is you're getting a much broader range of dampening and a damper that reacts much quicker than your conventional system. And this MagneRide system is so complex, guys. This thing takes into account different things such as steering angle, lateral acceleration, pitch, yaw, even ambient temperature. Oh, here we go. God, this thing handles great. Now it takes all this stuff, throws it through the MagneRide ECU, which transmits that to the sensors, and it's monitoring this stuff thousands of times per second, and it makes adjustments on the fly in basically milliseconds. So again, you have a killer suspension, adaptive suspension that reacts much quicker than the conventional dampeners, and as a result, You got a car that out-handles even the most tired and cheesy cliche. Here we go. Oh, this thing handles great. But Ford didn't even stop there, guys. Engineers actually found that having rear springs wound in the opposite direction actually provided some more rear end stability on the track. And this is just crazy because they had to come up with a completely different lower control arm to accommodate the new spring. So remember when I was talking about how Ford scienced the crap out of the GT350? Well, there you go. Just the experience driving this thing, revving it to 8,200. Oh my God. Yeah. And then there's that demonic growl that you hear coming from the exhaust. Listen, we're in the business of selling car parts. I get that. I don't know who would ever in their right mind want to change out this exhaust. It is absolutely perfect from the factory. I might get in trouble for saying that, but it is the complete truth. This thing is amazing. I've driven cars with twice the amount of power that this thing makes that don't get me excited or give me the butterflies that this car does. By now, most of you are probably already aware of the fact that both the GT350 and 350R feature a special kind of sorcery under the hood, otherwise known as a flat plane crankshaft. Now, these are a little different from those traditional cross-plane crankshaft designs, and they're something that's typically reserved for high-end sports cars or exotics or all-out race engines. I'm not going to get into the exact science as to how a flat plane crankshaft works, but what I can tell you is that these things rev a little quicker, rev a lot higher, and due to the different firing order, produce a totally different sound than anything else on the road. Enter the GT350's 5.2-liter flat plane crank engine, codenamed Voodoo. Now, this is a crazy creation from the guys over at Ford Performance, and it's actually based off of Ford's really popular and really capable Coyote 5-liter engine, but again, making a lot more power. 526 horsepower, 429 pound-feet of torque at the crank. That's good for more than 100 horsepower per liter. Very awesome and very unusual for a naturally aspirated V8. This is achieved thanks to a little bit more displacement than that Coyote motor, 5.2-liter compared to the 5-liter, of course. Less friction, less weight than that Coyote motor, and again, heads that outflow the Ferrari 458. And oh yeah, we can't forget that atmospheric redline of 8,250 RPM. Oh my God, this thing rips. There's 120, 130. Oh, oh my God, that's amazing. Wow, from 5,000 and below, I'm like, really? This is what this car is all about? And then it was like, wrong. Wow, that was fun.
You're clear to the runway. That plane's going to be touching down in about 30 seconds.
Roger that. That's airport speak.
Copy that.
See? $8,250 RPM. Holy cow! This thing is flying. Oh, that was 140 that time. Oh, I love my job. I love my job.
Copy.
My boss is yelling at me saying we're good. We're not good.
Over at the truck.
We need at least 10 more of those shots, right? You guys want to see it? Oh. Just banging gears at 8,250 RPM. There's 120, 130, and we're shutting her down. Holy cow. I can't even say bad words right because my heart's like boom, 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 boom. Oh my God. This thing is intoxicating at 9 grand, 8,200, whatever it is. It feels like 15 grand. A V8 should not rev like this. Oh, Amazing, absolutely amazing. The great Carroll Shelby, the man basically responsible for this car even being here, once said about his own creations, these cars aren't flowers. You have to drive them and drive them hard. And even though Carroll himself didn't have much to do with the modern 350 here, the same general rule still applies. You have to drive this thing hard. You have to take corners a little faster than you're comfortable with, and you have to wring this thing out to 8,200 RPM, because at that point, you really start to truly appreciate what this car really is. And that is one of the most unique, well-balanced Mustangs of all time.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt your regularly scheduled content, but it's for a good reason, I swear. This month's product break is going to feature the RTR upper and lower grille with the LED accent lighting. And I'm on the same page as you guys with this one. It's about time. So the RTR upper and lower grille without the LED accent lighting has been available for quite some time now, but it wasn't until recently that the upper grille with the LED accent lighting became available. Now the cool thing about this is that you can pick the upper and lower grille with the lighting up all together as one complete package, or if you already have the RTR upper and lower grilles, you can pick up just the LED accent lighting by itself. So the lighting is actually two individual inserts that are completely on their own. They do come with these harnesses that are going to plug directly into your factory harness. Now that means absolutely no wiring work for you guys. This is a direct plug and play design. If you're interested, you can always check it out more online. But for right now, I'm pretty stoked to show you guys my new car and give you my thoughts on it. All right, a lot of you guys probably don't know this about me, but I am a die-hard Fox Body fan at heart. This car right here is actually my first car, and I got it when I was 17 years old. Spent many long nights and weekends working on this car with my friends and family and building it into the car that you guys see here today. But of course, working at American Muscle, as you guys can all imagine, you see many different types of Mustangs. Different years, different builds, different power ranges, but I could still never really picture myself in a new Mustang until the S550 came along, that is. Now with all of that being said, I figure it's about time that I get with the times, and so I'd like to introduce you guys to my 2017 Lightning Blue GT. So we all know that not much changed for the 2017 Mustang, but there still were some changes. The largest of which is obviously going to be paint color. So there's no more competition orange, there's no more guard, and there's no more deep impact blue. But replacing those colors are three new colors, including the Lightning Blue, which is the color of this car right here, Grabber Blue, and I'm sure you guys all remember Grabber Blue, and there's now a new Platinum White. So Oxford White is still in the scene, guys, so don't worry, you just have two whites to choose from now. The other thing that's different about the 2017 when you compare it to the 2016 Mustang is that there are no more turn signals integrated in the hood vents. I personally didn't really notice that they weren't there because I can hardly see the hood vent, the driver's side hood vent anyway, because I'm short and I'm little. I can't even see the passenger one. But if this is something that you guys really want, they are really easy to access in the aftermarket world and they're very easy to install. The other thing that's different about the 2017, if you guys get a premium pack and up car, is the integration of a turn signal on the side mirror here. Now I know we're talking about big things, guys, but for me it's all about the little details. And I actually really like this. It's a little bit of exterior styling that you don't normally see with a Mustang. It makes it look a little better at night, and it's something that I dig. Now once again, because this is a premium pack car, there are a few things that are going to be different out back here as well, as opposed to if I had a performance pack or even a base model 17. Now the first thing I wanted to mention is this little spoiler right here. The premium pack does come with a spoiler. I'm not necessarily in love with it, but I can tell you right now that I'm going to be modifying this car. Now the other thing that's different out back here is the diffuser from Ford. Now the base model bumper does not have this diffuser, but the premium packs and the performance pack cars do. I like having this diffuser because when I go to modify it, it's going to leave me with a lot more options in the aftermarket world and a lot more things that I can do. So with the exterior pretty much taken care of, there are some things I want to show you guys on the interior, including that new Sync 3 system that came in the 16 and up premium cars. I can tell you guys right now, I'm in love with the Sync 3 system. I do want to show it to you, and I also want to take you for a drive, so let's get in. Sync 3 now has the capability of mirroring your phone. You can actually access all of your apps through your Sync 3 system. At first I didn't think that it was that big of a deal, but now that I've driven around with it, I realized that it actually is a really nice thing. I have navigation in my other car, and I will admit that I use Waze or Google Maps instead of using my car navigation. You can now have that map from your phone displayed on your much bigger screen. You have your phone options as well. Everything I can do on my phone, I can now do on my car. You can actually access your phone keyboard through this. I mean, I can send a text. That's weird. There's also settings. You can set your sound, your clock, you have Bluetooth settings. Look at this, guys. Boom. it continues. The other thing is, since we're pulled over here, I did want to go over some of the stuff with the premium pack cars. I can access different steering modes. So right now I'm actually in sport. It's a little bit firmer, the car is a little bit more right there with me, and that's the type of drive that I like. The other thing is there's different drive modes. Now I drive around normal drive mode, but if I wanted to, I could do Sport Plus. I could also do a track mode, automatically turns my traction control off, or I could do a snow or wet mode, which I can tell you right now, I'm not gonna be driving this car in the snow. The other thing is I do have the shaker in this car. I love it. These speakers sound great. Instead of 6, I now have 9. I feel like if I didn't have that, I would be shopping for aftermarket audio equipment. Music is a huge thing for me. All right guys, so here it is. We are driving around in my brand new Lightning Blue 2017 GT, and as you can see by my smile, I don't know if I could be happier or more excited about this car. So there are a few other things that I wanted to hit on that this car has because it is a premium pack car. I do have the power leather seats in this, and I'll say that they are really nice. Yes, they are cold, and yes, I have that on today because it's so hot. Makes a huge difference. So something else in the interior, because this is not a performance pack, that I don't have the gauges, but that's not a huge deal to me because there is a gauge mode in the dash. It gives me oil pressure, gives me oil temp, gives me air inlet temp, cylinder head temp, and air fuel ratio, of course, which is the most important. It's nice that all this comes from factory because I don't have to deck out my interior with gauges now to get the information that I need. Performance-wise, it doesn't have the 373 gears, it has 331 gears. I don't miss the 373s right now. This car drives great to me. It moves through the gears, it has a good power band, and it's also going to be really good for any kind of future modification that I may do. I love driving, I love shifting. I don't want to live in 5th gear. I don't want to have to be throwing gears all freaking day long to get anywhere and everywhere. But I like shifting a little bit, and I like to be able to keep in the power band and grab gears when I want to. And I thought the 331s were going to keep me from doing that, but I was completely wrong. It drives really nice. It has stock exhaust. Let me see if I can get on a little bit. This car drives great, handles bumps great. Obviously you have the wheel hop issues with the IRS. There's a little bit of body roll if you're really laying into it in a corner. But I know with how these cars respond to mods that we can eliminate all of that so easily and so quickly. Woo! This thing chirped 3rd. That's actually the hardest I've driven it. Nothing's broken in on this car yet. It has 452 miles. So I've actually been treating it like a baby. I'm surprised that thing chirped 3rd, holy crap. So after driving this car around for a few days and knowing full well that I never keep any of my car stock for very long, I think it's safe to say that I've got some pretty big plans for this car. You guys are gonna have to follow along with the next few episodes of Hot Lap if you wanna watch this build evolve, because I'm gonna make this car a bad bitch.
That's gonna wrap us up. Steph, the new ride looks absolutely sick. I really can't wait to see what you do with it. But first, before we get out of here, I do wanna say thanks again, give a quick shout out to our buddy Steve. Thanks for throwing us the key to your R for a few days. We certainly enjoyed it.
So guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will say that this is probably the last time that you guys are ever gonna see this car stock. So if you wanna keep up with my build, make sure you follow the next few episodes of Hot Lap. For all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.